Hello, hello, and welcome. I guess it would help if I cut the camera on. Welcome to Celebrating Fatherhood 365. Celebrating Fatherhood 365. I don't like this camera. Bring it down a little bit. All right. So tonight, I do have a guest. He's going to be on at about 10 after. No stranger to this program, Mr. Michael Theory will join me. We are talking about fatherhood tonight. We see Nick is joined us in the audience. How you doing, Nick? If you want to jump in or chime in at any time, feel free to do so.
Sounds good.
Um,
Yeah. Good evening.
how are you?
Doing well, thanks.
All right, all right. We're going to talk about fathers. Yesterday was Mother's Day. I hope everyone had a wonderful Mother's Day. I really do. You know, mothers are important as well. That's the whole purpose of my show is to emphasize both parents, not just fathers, but both parents. And I do invite women and young ladies to come on and talk about their fathers, talk about their parents, talk about their experience growing up. I think it's important to know and celebrate, to acknowledge, to understand, and gain wisdom about those things because so often fathers are left out of the equation. I had a conversation with a young lady on yesterday. I know Mother's Day was 2 weeks ago. I wasn't here last week, so I'm kind of a little bit off. I just realized that. But I do say Happy Mother's Day still because the month of May is um, designated Mother's Day month, and June is for fathers. They don't have them back to back in the same month. They split them up a little bit, you know. But children need. This is my opinion. I might be wrong. You might call me out on it, but I believe that children need both parents. It took two of them to bring the child into this earth, and I think it's important that they have both parents, not just one, not one or the other, as if they can pick which one they want to have. I think they need to see and experience both parents in order to have clarity and understanding and to both clarity and understanding. I'm getting feedback. Both clarity and understanding. Okay. I'm getting feedback. I think I know why. I need to change my. Okay. I think I know why. I need to change my angle. I think I know why. I sounds so weird to hear that coming out of there. I think I know why. I sounds so weird to hear that coming out of there. I think I know why. I sounds so weird to hear that coming out of there. Boom, boom, boom. I think I know why. We're working on it. I sounds so weird to hear that coming out of there. Boom, boom, boom. I think I know why. We're working on it. I sounds so weird to hear that coming out of there. Boom, boom, boom. I think I know why. I don't want to create a voice recording. So weird to hear that coming out of there. Boom, boom, boom. Let me see. Yeah, I probably should. That was my purpose of getting up early, was to test this and make sure that. Yeah, I probably should. That was my purpose of getting up early, was to test this and make sure that. Yeah, I probably should. That was my purpose of getting up early, was to test this and make sure that. Yeah, I probably should. That was my purpose of getting up early. Hello. To test this and make sure that. Yeah, I probably should. That was my purpose of getting up early. Hello? To test this. I'm still hearing it. Okay. That was my purpose of getting up early. Hello? To test this. I'm still hearing it. Now, if that's turned off, Nick, can you hear me? Hello? To test this. I'm still hearing it. Now, if that's turned off, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? To test this. I'm still hearing it. Now, if that's turned off, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? that's turned off. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't want to test it. Let me go into audio settings. Now, if that's turned off, can you getting feedback galore? I don't want to test it. Let me go into audio settings. Now, if that's turned off, can you getting feedback galore? I don't want to test it. 1 2 1 2. Let me go into audio settings. I'm just playing around with it because feedback galore. I'm going to take a 1 2 1 2 short break. I will be right back. I'm just playing around with it because feedback galore. I'm going to take a 1 2 1 2 short break. I will be right back. I'm just playing around with it because feedback galore. I'm going to take a 1 2 1 2 short break. I will be right back. I'm just playing around with it because feedback galore. I'm going to take a 1 2 1 2 short break. I will be right back. I'm just playing around with it because feedback galore. I'm going to take a 1 2 1 2 short break. I will be right back. I'm just playing around with it because feedback galore. I'm going to take a 1 2 1 2 short break. I will be right back. I'm just playing around with it because feedback galore. I'm going to take a 1 2 1 2 short break. I will be right back. All right. Hello? I'm going to take a 1 2 1 2 short break. I'm using that. Mic check. Hello? I'm using that. I put it on Roadcaster. But that's not right. Mic check. Hello? Let's try this one. I'm using that. I put it on Roadcaster. But that's not right. Mic check. Hello? Let's try this one. I think the delay is right. I put it on. Now it says join audio. Mic check. Hello? Let's try this one. I think the delay is right. Oh, buddy. Okay. Now it says join audio. Mic check. I don't know if I want to join. Let's try this one. I think the delay is right. Oh, buddy. Okay. Now it says join audio. Let me see what's going on. All right. Nick, can you hear me? If you can hear me, unmute. Okay. Let me see what's going on. I think I have it fixed now. All right. Nick, can you hear me? At one time. Could you hear me talking twice earlier? Let me see what's going on. Nick, I think I have it fixed now. Yeah. All right. Nick, can you hear me? It wasn't okay. Could you hear me talking twice? Me over here, and I'm hearing. I was hearing it twice. Okay. But it may be a delay. I think I have it fixed because I'm running through Facebook and it wasn't okay. Could you hear me talking twice? YouTube. I'm hearing. I was hearing it twice. Okay. But it may be a delay. I think I have it fixed because I'm running. YouTube is way behind. And it wasn't okay. Could you hear me? It's so weird. YouTube. I'm hearing. I was hearing it twice. Okay. But it may be a delay. Right, let me see. Because I'm running. I need to call Michael now to see if I can get him. It's so weird. YouTube. I'm hearing. I was hearing it twice. But it may be a delay. Let me see if I can get Michael. I need to call Michael now to see if I can get him. It's so weird. YouTube. I'm hearing. I was hearing it twice. But it may be a delay. Let me see if I can get Michael. I need to call Michael now to see if I can get him. It's so weird. YouTube. I'm hearing. I was hearing it twice. But it may be. Yep. All right. Let me see if I can get Michael. I need to call Michael now to see if I can get him. It's so weird. YouTube. I'm hearing. I was hearing it twice. But it may be. Yep. Nick, if you have Facebook, I'm actually on Facebook as well. It's so weird.
Yeah, I don't go on there
Your
anymore.
call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Oh, he didn't.
The person
come
you're
on.
trying to
Nick,
reach
if
is
you
not
have
available.
Facebook, I'm
At the
actually
tone,
on Facebook
please
as
record your
well.
message.
Okay. I'll give him a call
Your
back.
call has been forwarded to
He
voicemail.
said that he was in a
The
rehearsal.
person you're trying to reach
If
is
you
not
have
available.
Facebook,
At
I'm
the
actually
tone,
on
please
Facebook as
record
well.
your
I'm not
message.
sure. Can you hear it twice? I'll give him a
Your
call
call
back.
has been forwarded to
He
voicemail.
said he was
The
in a
person
rehearsal.
you're trying
He's
to
on
reach
Facebook.
is not
Facebook.
available.
I'm actually on
Please
Facebook.
record your
I'm not
message.
sure. Can
Louder
you hear
now.
it twice? I'll give
So-
him a call
Your
back.
call has been forwarded to
He
voicemail.
said he was in a
The
rehearsal.
person you're trying
He's
to
on
reach is
Facebook.
not available.
That's
Please record your
I'm not
message.
sure. Can
Louder
you hear
now.
it twice? I'll give him a call back.
Yeah, I'm just not used to hearing myself through there. I'm normally hearing it through here. That's
I'm not sure.
louder now.
It's almost like there's a delay.
Yeah, I'm just not used to hearing
Pretty
myself
wild.
through there. I'm normally hearing it through here.
Okay, I'm going to give Michael another shot, another call.
It's almost like there's a
and
delay. Yeah, I'm just not used to hearing
Pretty
myself
wild.
through there. I'm normally hearing it through here.
Okay, I'm going to give Michael another shot, another call.
It's almost like there's a
and
delay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just not used to hearing
Pretty
myself
wild.
take my sweet potato through there. I'm normally hearing it through here.
Take yours. Okay, I'm going to give Michael another shot. All
All
right,
right,
let me call
That's
Michael
crazy.
one
I'm
more
just
time.
Pretty
To
wild.
get him.
My sweet potato there. I'm normally hearing
Not,
it
I'll
through
wait
here.
to take yours.
10 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to give.
Well, he
Michael
has the
another
number, so
shot.
I ask him to give me.
All right, let me call
That's
Michael
crazy.
one
I'm
more
just
time.
Pretty
To
wild.
get him.
My sweet potato there. I'm normally hearing
Not,
it.
I'll
All
wait.
right, let's see.
Okay, I'm going to give.
Well, he has the
Michael
number,
another
so
shot.
I ask him to give me.
All right, let me call
My
Michael.
Bluetooth is not connected.
To get him.
My sweet potato there. I'm normally
Not,
All
I'll
right,
wait.
let's see.
Okay, I'm going to give.
Well, he has the number, so I ask him.
I'll
tell you.
Your call has been
My
forwarded to
Bluetooth, when it
voicemail.
rains, it pours.
Get him.
Do. All right, let's see. When it rains, it pours. I'll tell you.
Your call has been
My
forwarded to
Bluetooth, when it
voicemail.
rains, it pours. That's why we need a technician. When it rains, it pours. That is exactly why.
Your call has been
My
forwarded to
Bluetooth, when it
voicemail.
rains, it pours. That's why we need. I can hear it. Technician. Maybe that's just the way it is. That is exactly why.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Rains, it pours. That's the way it is. I can hear it. Technician. Maybe that's just the way it is. That is exactly why.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Rains, it pours. That's the way it is. I can hear it. You're getting there. Maybe that's just the way it is. That is exactly why.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Rains, it pours. That's the way it is. I can hear it. You're getting there this time. Maybe that's just the way it is. That is exactly why. I'm going to mute one mic and see what happens.
Chris, were you able to log in?
I can hear it. You're getting there this time. Maybe that's just the way it is. That is exactly why. I'm going to mute one mic and see what happens.
Chris, were you able to log in?
The mute works. I can hear it. You're getting there this time. Maybe that's just the way it is. We got the Roadcaster Cook connected. See what happens.
Chris, were you able to log in?
The mute works. Right. You're getting there this time. Maybe that's just the way it is. We got the Roadcaster Cook connected. See what happens.
Chris, were you able to log in?
The mute works. Right. Getting there. All right. We got the Roadcaster Cook connected.
Chris, were you able to log in?
The mute works. Right. All right. Got the Roadcaster Cook person online now.
Chris, were you able to log in?
The mute works. I'm on Facebook and on YouTube. Now, I don't get any views on YouTube. I'm on Facebook and on it's still ringing. Now,
So, fatherhood.
Facebook and I'm hearing it's still
It is a
tremendous delay. Maybe I need to cut off speaker now.
So,
I don't need to hear that. I don't need to hear that. Feedback. There's definitely a delay. All right. Can you hear
think I may have figured it out. It's getting feedback from Facebook. Normally, they run behind me, but I don't hear them. I don't hear myself talking. It's almost like there's a 10-second delay between what I'm saying and what I'm hearing come back in. So we may have fixed that problem. Let's turn that up a little bit. Where is it now? 9:16. Trying to get Michael on the line. We'll try one more time. Try one more again. How about that? Oh, is it ringing? Is it ringing on the roadcaster? Yes, it is. Yes, it's ringing through the roadcaster.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang.
All right. What a day, what a day. Let me try this again. We did have someone calling in. Try to reach him, see if I can get him on the line. Resets.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you
All right, I got a voicemail call. I don't know who's online now. Trying to reach Michael Theory, who is supposed to be my guest. We had planned on 9:10. Perhaps rehearsal ran over with him, so let's see what's happening. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey man, I'm doing well.
All
How about
right.
yourself?
Wonderful. Are you calling in for the show?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Michael Theory was supposed to be here at 9:10, but I couldn't get him on the phone. So
You said Michael?
Michael Theory, yeah, he's a friend of mine. So he may call in. I don't know. Maybe rehearsal ran over. Missed you yesterday. We were supposed to
Yes.
be connected yesterday.
Yes.
I did call you a couple of times, so I did reach out. Just
Oh,
wanted
I
to-
did not get any phone calls.
Yeah, I called you a couple of times at 2:30 and like 2:40, 2:45, something like that. Yep. I didn't know if you had the address or not, so I was going to text you the address if I got you on the phone.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. I went on and put it together and worked through it. Took a little longer than what I thought it would, but we got through it. I still need some muscle to move it, but we'll get it done. Yep. So what's on your mind tonight, man? I did mention earlier motherhood, Mother's Day. That was 2 weeks ago, and Father's Day is the next big holiday coming up now. Are you excited about Father's Day? Are you like me?
I mean, I would say this. It's like, but
That's me.
I know that my kids are gonna make it the biggest day in the world.
Yeah.
So I do look for, I do appreciate that excitement. So, but that's the only thing that's really like okay about it, and that's only for now.
Yeah, and your kids are young. How old? Your oldest is 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how old is your daughter? 9?
Yep, right behind them.
1 year apart. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, the topic tonight was, and I'll try to bring it in now. We were looking at, let me see, how did I describe it on Facebook? Because it is open forum. Yeah, there we go. Benefits of both parents. Do you think that both parents are necessary or important in a child's life?
Well, we talk about this all the time. It would be good if both parents, but
Yeah, I'm just talking about in general. I'm not talking about your specific anecdotal experiences. I'm just saying, overall, would you agree that both parents are needed or necessary, regardless of how that shakes out in your world, my
No,
world, and other
no,
people?
no. Both
You know,
parents are not needed necessarily.
I think so. But why do you think not?
Well, we talk about at least one good parent is enough.
Well, that's true, but I'm saying but that's not the norm. That shouldn't be the norm. Let me put it that way. It
No,
should
it
not
should
be
not.
the norm because it takes two people to bring this child into this earth. I mean, the fathers even determine the sex of the child. You see what I'm saying? So the mother's the one who carries the child, and gives birth to the child. In fact, the mothers determine if the child's going to be born or not. You know,
Yep.
more so than the fathers do. You know, because once conception is discovered, she has options. And if you say, "Nah, I don't want to have this kid," she can say, "I'm gonna have this kid." There's nothing you can do about it.
Or vice
Or
versa.
vice versa. If she says, "I don't want to have this kid," there's nothing you can do about it. You know, so I see both parents as necessary. Now, is that the norm, or is that always the case? Absolutely not. Because when I talk a lot of times, I'm talking in general terms. I'm utilizing the bell curve, and it's looking at the general rule. You know, can a single parent do it? Absolutely. You know, but statistics prove that a single father has the same outcomes or closer similar outcomes as a two-parent household. You know, if you look at outcomes.
Yeah, I think that it's essential, especially like for my instance, I got both genders. I have a daughter and a son. I think the having both parents is essential in raising a male and a female child because their identity is gonna go to the same sex gender. So what I've noticed with my son, his identity comes from me. And what I noticed from my daughter, even though she's super close and connected to me, her identity still pours from her mother.
And you know what? I've seen the opposite occur as well. Believe it or not, you know, I've seen whereas the girl takes more after the father. You
But,
know,
so that's the thing. So she does take more after me, but the yearning for the relationship and I think the feminine nature, I think that's what I'm more so speaking to.
okay, okay, yeah, because the mother. Well, I would say, you know, in some instances, girls realize, hey, I don't want to be weak like my mother. I don't want to be my mother. So by default, they become their fathers in relationships. You know, and which is not always a good thing, but that's just the reality of what happens in families, and that comes from I would say dysfunctional families. But I'm saying if the family was functional, all things being equal, everything is going good within the family unit. I think a mother and a father have benefit to their children. You know, now if I had that's just me. I'm not saying this to everybody because I know I could get crucified for this one. But if it
Yeah.
came down to it, if the children should go with the mother or the father, I think they should go with the father. You know, based on I'm just saying based on outcomes.
Like stats and stuff like that.
Are there exceptions to that? Absolutely. But and there may be instances where the children were better off with the mother. So you can look at those instances as case by case, but as a general rule, I mean, up into the 60s and 70s, when there was a divorce, which happened very infrequently, the children stayed with the father.
Yeah.
You know, but then the laws changed, and then women got equal rights, and then women got access to the money. You know, things
Hmm.
changed, and now it's almost automatic when there's a divorce, the children go to the mother. You know, you get every other weekend and on Wednesdays for 2 hours. That was the default plan that they had back in the 80s and 90s, but that has changed tremendously over the years. You know,
Yeah.
children will instantly go to the mother without question, and the father is almost demonized, even if it was the mother's fault for the divorce. You
Mm.
know, 80% of divorces are filed by women. Some statistics say 70%, some say 80. I'm gonna say on the high side, 80%. You know, and I'm saying the unreal reason, the thing that blows my mind about their reasoning for filing for divorce is, I'm not happy, or he doesn't make me happy anymore.
It's 70%
It is
for
70.
women.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you know what's so interesting too about that
But
70%?
but look though, and you might be getting to this. It says this figure climbs even higher, up to 90% when looking at college educated couples.
College educated couples, and
Yep.
also watch this. You'll see the statistic too. Even with lesbian couples, it's just as high.
Wow.
They don't even get along with themselves. The same reasoning, same thought process is their happiness. They don't feel happy. That is interesting to me. You know, there was a young lady. I think I talked about this before with Michael. She lived as a man. Her goal was to live as a man for 24 months, 2 years, and document her experience of living like a man, because she didn't believe that men had it so hard. After 18 months, she quit. She gave up. 22 months after the 18 months, at 22 months, she ended up killing herself. She committed suicide. That's crazy, if you ask me. She realized that being a man was not as easy as she thought it was. But she had to also deal with women and how they treated men and how they looked at her as a man. She didn't tell them. Some of them figured it out. She confessed to some that she was. And some of them didn't care that even though she was a woman, they didn't care. You know,
Yeah.
the overall treatment she experienced from women, the rejection she experienced from women, it just tore her down at 18 months. And
Yeah.
these are just every day for me. It's like, okay, it's day Tuesday, so what else is new? You know what I'm saying?
You feel what I'm
That's how
saying?
we feel. Okay, you know, we had peas for dinner last night. You know, it's normal for us, but for her, it was so devastating that she ended up taking her own life. Man, I thought that was
What?
very tragic. You know,
Yeah,
you
women don't handle rejection too well because they don't get it.
no,
They don't get rejection.
no, they don't. Not as often as men are. You know, when it comes to those swipe right and swipe left means no. Women swipe left 70% of the time. Just
I'm
on
trying to
looks.
tell you.
Just on looks, 70% on looks. They don't. Then you look at, if you add height to it, how much money they make. You know.
Oh yeah, it gets slimmer and slimmer.
Yeah. They swipe left even more when it comes to instances like that. So I thought that was pretty strange. Well, not strange, but not surprising in today's economy. You know. And the reason why I picked this subject tonight was benefit of both parents in the home is I was working with a client a couple of days ago, and I was asking her a question about $20,000 a month. What would you do if could you spend $20,000 a month, right? And the first thing she said that she would set up a program, I would say another program for women and children. You know, I said, so you just discount and negate the husband altogether, the man. You want to set a program for women and children. You know, that's normal for today's society to do that. You know, Chris Rock said this, and I say this often on here. Women, children, and pets are loved unconditionally.
Yeah, I agree.
Fathers are based on their utility, what you can
Yep.
provide. That determines if you're loved or not by your family. You know, women can mess up, and do a whole lot of crazy.
But do you think that that's something that can be changed, or is that something that? Do you think that that's something that we can't escape?
I think it can be changed because it's societal, and the look at the factors that created that. when you
Mhm.
have programs and things to uplift the woman, uplift the woman, uplift the woman. Everything is woman, woman, woman. Now, women and children, women and children. They're not looking at. I'm saying to the exclusion of the father. In the 60s and 70s, if a family was on the system, welfare system, that's what they called it back then, the father could not be in the home.
Mm.
They intentionally removed the father from the home. So now, what are the children's role model? What are the children's expectation? What is the wife? I don't need no man. Even if the government is giving me government cheese, I don't need no man because I'm getting paid. I got my own money. So that had a lot to do with the shift in the thought process of people right there. You know, my thing is, no, we need each other. Together, watch this team, the word team. Together, everyone achieves more. You know? And then that was done on the lower end of the spectrum as far as economic and social status, right? Now let's move up into the middle class area. In the middle class area, the black woman fit two categories because back then, you know, they had quotas. You had to have a certain number of people working. A woman was a woman, and then she was black. You got the job because now I fill my quota.
Mhm.
So that means the black man was left out, although he may have been equally qualified. Michael is calling. I'm gonna see if I can add him to this call. Hold on. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, man, this is Michael, man.
Okay, how's it going? I couldn't
How are
add you
you?
to the call. I was trying to add you to a call, but
Oh, okay, that's okay.
I think he called me on FaceTime audio, and FaceTime audio I can't mix calls. So
Okay, no
hopefully he
problem.
can call me back. He's gone now, so hopefully he can call me
Okay,
back another way. But you know, I was waiting for
okay,
you. I knew you would call me when you got free because that's why I called you a couple of times so you make sure you had that number. Got
yeah,
this number locked in. Um, can
okay.
everyone? Let me see. Nick, can you hear? Can
Yeah,
you
I can hear you fine.
you can hear me fine? Okay, okay, because I'm not
Yeah,
too close to the. You're running through my headset. Okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure that everybody else could hear you. Okay,
okay,
and so Mike, I had some technical issues getting started, which hopefully I resolved. But tonight, as I call it open forum, I always do open forum. We can talk about anything, but specifically tonight, I asked the question: what are the benefits? Are there benefits of fathers or both parents within the home? Is there a
okay,
benefit for, let's say, a father running the home, single father running the home? Maybe the wife died. Maybe he got him through divorce. Maybe she just didn't want her kids anymore. Are the benefits there with the father and both parents in the home? What are the benefits of those scenarios?
Well, man, I think first of all, I mean, a lot of women may disagree with that, but man, a father, he brings balance to the family. I
Yeah,
mean, he brings order and balance to the family. 9 times out of 10, I'm talking about if you got a good father and he happens to be a single father, and you match him up against a single mother, 8 or 9 times out of 10, that child is going to be more stable, man. And I know a lot of women will frown
yeah.
on that, but
On you
man,
saying that, yes, they would.
yeah, but I mean, but history proves that though.
Yeah,
Because the father, first of all, he's not going to operate his family, or he's not going to run his family based on sheer emotion.
not on his feelings. No.
And children, I ain't talking about just any type of dude, but I'm talking about a good father. Children need order.
Right.
They need that kind of stability, not buying a child something, to or trying to make a child look good or get all of the popular brand names.
Yeah.
That's not raising a child. That's
The new
spoiling a
habits.
child.
Yeah, that is spoiling. I have a mother I've worked with in the past. Michael bought the kid Xbox, one of them, Xbox or PlayStation. Let's say Xbox. for his birthday, then gave it to him early, and now she's going to go him buy him something else for his birthday.
Right.
I'm saying, what did he do to earn that? That's the first question I asked. What did he do?
Right. Right.
You're getting calls from the school about his behaviors, and you're going to reward behaviors like that?
Right. Right.
I don't know a good father would say, "Yeah, Mom, you're doing the right thing." That doesn't
a
make
good
sense to
father.
me.
No, a good father is not going to reward, like you said, a bad behavior.
Not at
You know.
all. And
You know.
here's another aspect of it too. I'm looking at the scenario. Most good fathers, I'm lifting up the man. Then I hope that they don't get too mad at us. We don't parent out of guilt.
Right.
Even
Right.
if we've made some mistakes, even if the mom divorced or whatever, when you come to my house, I have a different set of rules. I'm not going to just let you get away with everything because I feel guilty about what
Right.
happened. Maybe your mother passed away. I'm not going to parent you out of guilt
Right.
because my job is to teach you. I still have to teach you. I have to teach you, especially coming from a black perspective, that when the police stop you, this is what you need to do to protect yourself so that you can come home.
Right.
The goal is
Right.
for you to come home. See, I'm not going to say, "Oh, I'm going to call on my son or my daughter because something happened."
Right.
I still need to teach you how to deal with that situation, how to document, how to record, how to get a
Yeah.
lawyer. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things that we need to teach them. But if you come at it from an emotional standpoint, the child is dealing with the police or the principal at school from an emotional position, then they're going to
Right.
lose.
Right. And again, this is how a lot of especially a lot of young brothers, man, go to their graves at the hands of a police officer because nobody tried to teach him how to, control his emotions.
Absolutely. The
You know.
police
And
come to
and
my
and
car.
it's
Go ahead.
uh-huh.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, and there's another thing, man, that there's two things. One of them the people in the church quotes wrong. But the first thing is the Bible says that God chastised those that He loves.
That he loves. Exactly.
That He loves. You know what I'm saying? So the father that father knows that child is going to do something wrong, and a good father is going to check him as soon as he does.
Exactly. That don't mean beat the brakes off of them or
Right.
belittle them or put them down. Is if I love you, son, I'm going to teach you right from wrong. I need to let you know what wrong looks like and what right looks like.
That's right.
That's so important.
Right.
But mothers,
Right.
on the other hand, we'll let you slide. We're
Right.
gonna do the electric slide. You know what I'm saying? And the kids
Right.
saying, "Okay, I got one.
Right.
And what's so interesting too, Michael, when
Go ahead.
when the children are coming from a divorce situation,
Right.
they learn quickly how to manipulate both parents and feed
Yep.
their emotionalism, so that they can get what they want.
Right.
And the parents are so invested in the child that they don't even take time for their own mental health and
Right.
realize that, hey, my child needs to be taught.
Right.
They don't even think like that. I'll give
I
you an
remember,
example. Go ahead.
Well, um, I'm sorry, were you about to say something?
No, go ahead.
I know the other thing, man, is this thing about, this is something that we hear in church all the time. Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
Okay. But the problem, that is not written in the Bible.
No.
It says that, and I challenge people to look for it. It says if you spare the rod, you hate the child. Now you take that and balance that with God chastens that He loves. So if
Right.
you spare the rod, that means you really internally hate the child.
Right.
But
even in the rod, Michael, the beginning of that chapter, it says, use the rod of instruction to teach your
Right.
children. Use the rod of instruction to help your child. You know what I'm saying? That's the rod.
Yeah.
That's the measure that you're using. You teach
That's
them.
right. That's right.
Later on it says, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child.
But it actually says you hate the child if
hate
you
the
if you
child.
spare the
Yes.
rod. That's what it.
Yes.
I tell people, go back and read that in the King James Version. It does not say spoil. It says hate.
You hate them. Absolutely. But people don't read the entire chapter. They hear something that, unfortunately, churches, and they run
Right.
with it, you know? And
Right.
a lot of that was passed on through, slavery, slave mentality, to justify
Yep.
what they were doing. The Bible was manipulated to justify them, to make them feel good about what they were doing. That's all.
Right.
It don't take a
Right.
rocket science to know that and realize that. So I'm going to say this, that slavery infested both people. You know, not just
All right.
black people, but
Oh,
white people.
I agree with you.
You know, we both were infested by that, because for you to think you're superior and for me to think that I am inferior is a problem
Right.
in the sight of God.
That's right.
You know, because
You know.
the Bible says to love your neighbor as you
Well,
love yourself.
Let's go back, man, and look at the welfare system. This to show you how much those who rule over us, how well many of them know us better than we know ourselves. In order to bring instability to the family and get that welfare money, who did they have to kick out of the household?
The father.
The
I
father.
talked about that earlier. They kick them out.
Yeah.
They had to. You know, and then when it came down to jobs, who gonna get the job? The black woman. Why? Because
Right.
she fits two categories. She's black and
Right.
she's a woman.
Right.
Now I can
Right.
get that government grant. Now I can get that government money because I can show you I have minorities that work here. They're not looking at, unfortunately, a lot of white companies, startups, or functioning companies. They never looked at the quality of a person or the character of a person. It was based
Right.
on kinship. I even said
Right.
this today in the bank. I was in Chase Bank with the one of the vice presidents. And I said,
Right.
in Richmond, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's true.
You know?
That is true.
So it don't matter how good your product is. If you don't know the right people, your product is not going to go anywhere.
Right.
In
Right.
Richmond. And I'm not just saying Richmond, Virginia. I'm talking about in the metro Richmond area. That could be any county around this Richmond as well. I'm not just slamming Richmond but it's true. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know the
Right.
right people, man, you're gonna be screwed. It's all about
Right.
how you network,
Right.
and who you are networking with.
That's true. That's true. In the home, man, you know, like I said, when I talk to women, I say, look, you can give a child the necessities, but you can't. Like I tell women all the time, I say you can't teach a man how to be a man.
No, not at all.
And I say you can teach your daughter the things about.
I lost you. Hello.
Know that there's a lot of no good
Okay,
men
I
out
lost you
there.
for a minute.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Fine.
Okay. I'm actually on the highway back to Richmond, man.
Yeah, I know. I know where you are.
Yeah, I was telling this girl, I said, you know, you can give a boy the necessities to put clothes on his back and food in his mouth and shelter on his head. I said, but you can't teach a man to be a man like a man can.
Amen.
And I told her, I said, you can raise your daughter. You can do that, and you can teach her about womanhood if you're a truly upright woman. I said, but there's things that a man would tell his daughter that you would never even think of.
Exactly. And tell his son. I mean, I was raised by
Right.
my mother. And Michael, I can cook. I can clean.
Yep.
I used to wash
Yep.
clothes, iron clothes.
Right.
I used to prepare the meals for the family. You know,
Right.
when my mother worked at night, I was the one to cook dinner. Made sure the other kids got their baths and, You know, we went to bed when we were supposed to, being the older
Right.
brother at the time. You know what I'm saying? She taught
Right.
me those things. I'm not saying that those are
Right.
bad things.
Right.
But Michael, she didn't teach me how to be a man.
Yeah. And see, that's what my mother told me. She said, I can't, my mother told me straight up, you know, I can't teach you how to be a man. I was glad that she told me that.
Yeah.
But because my father wasn't there, I learned a whole lot of things about men in the street.
In the
Now,
streets.
I'm going to tell you, man, now some of these guys, man, they sold drugs, but they would, you know what they'd always tell me? They would drink, they would do all kinds of terrible things, man. But they would tell me, Micah, don't do what I did. Don't do what I did.
Right.
You know, man, all of those guys who are on the street weren't stupid, man. It's just like you have some men who are drug kingpins where if they had the right kind of mentorship, these people would be billionaires in a legal business.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you got street hustle, all you need to do, if you had just learned a legal hustle, you would be rich.
Right.
You wouldn't have to worry about the police or nobody else.
Right.
You'd be rich because they have the skill set necessary to do so. You know, because me learning and listening to other men in different circles and groups, I learned a few things, and not all of them were good. And
Right.
It wasn't really until my children were here when I said, Lord, what do I need to learn so that I can be a better father?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I had to ask the question because, and then I started reading books. I started watching and talking to the right types of people to learn
Right.
how to do those things, you know?
Right.
But a lot of men don't do that. We especially I would say weak men don't do that. The ones who
Right.
may have been raised by their mothers, because I know guys to this day, Michael, raised by their mothers, living with their girlfriends and don't work.
Right. Right.
To me, that's not a man. That's a male.
Yeah, that's a male.
You were born a male, but that's not a man.
Right. You know, all of that to me still fits into the feminine side of things, because that's what society has become now. They have broken the men,
Right.
and just like you said, and turned many into males. And who have they used to do that? They have used the mother. They have made sure that they put the father, especially the good fathers, out of the pictures, right? And now the mothers, you know, every time when I hear women talk about men who are no good or they're relying on other women, I said, well, who raised those? Who raised those guys?
Them? Right. That's the question we got to ask. We can't look at the kid
Right.
who fell down. We got to look at what caused them to fall.
That's right.
Because if you deal with the cause, then you should be able to stop the cause.
Yeah, and a good father is not going to let his son fall by the wayside like that.
Not like that. No, not at all. My thing with my kids was, come here, let me teach you, or I'll teach you. You know,
Right.
Let me help you. Let me show you how to deal with that. And my middle son's biggest lesson that I had to work with him on was how to deal with difficult people. You know, because he had challenges with his mother, and every woman, which was his teachers, he dealt with, he was triggered by them, and he responded like, I said, but that's not your mom. That's not your mom. The similarity, now he's not going to go off on his mother, but that teacher's going to catch it.
Right.
So he had to learn how to deal with difficult people in difficult situations.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and not allow his emotions to take him over. So now, even to this day, Michael, if he run into a difficult person, you know what he do? First thing he do, he
Right.
laughs. He laughs.
Right.
And he says, I know you already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he also recognized the fact that he's overcome that.
Right.
Now, if he didn't have a father in his life teaching him that, he would be one emotional wreck today.
Yeah.
His mother even tried to put him on medication.
Yep.
And I said, he didn't need no medication.
Right. Right. I hear you, man.
I did research on Ritalin. Because that's what she tried to put him on. And I said, I looked at what are the side effects of it, right?
Ritalin.
Then I did what are alternatives to Ritalin? What are things you can do? And Then I said, what's the best solution for Ritalin? I'm talking about just Ritalin. And you know what kept popping up the most, Michael,
What's that?
for boys? Spending time with their fathers.
Right.
That was the solution
Right.
to keep a kid off of Ritalin.
Right.
And you know what I said? I can do that.
Oh yeah.
I can do
Oh
that.
yeah.
So I wrote a letter to the doctor who prescribed the medicine and told her, don't do that. We have joint custody, right? And then about 2 weeks later, I met her again. I saw her, didn't meet her because I knew who she was. I saw her at the TV station. And
Right.
we talked about herbal medicines and herbal remedies the whole time she was there. And I said, but you tried to write a prescription for my kids, but you know about herbs.
Right.
Isn't that interesting?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And when I
Well, man.
told the mother what the doctor said, what we were talking about, she got mad at me.
That's crazy, man. Well, I think what a lot of people don't understand, man, is that when it comes to the fathers and the mothers, but I say the fathers right now, man, it's not just a physical thing, man. A good father, man, is gonna pour his spirit into his children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Spiritual is necessary. You know, the Bible
Right.
even said those who worship God must worship him in spirit and in
That's right.
truth.
Right.
So it's definitely a spiritual thing, you know, and teaching your children values and standards, you know, but you can't just say go to school and get good grades.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's we learned from experience that that's not gonna save any of our children because it didn't save us.
Absolutely. You can't say just do your homework, just go to bed, come eat your dinner, go take your bath. Those are
Right.
nurturing things to do. Yeah, they need those. But son, did you keep your word today? What does your word mean to you? I used to ask my
Right.
son this all the time. I said, if your word don't mean anything to you, what should it mean to me?
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
And then
Yeah.
a lot of women have told me, oh, you so hard. You're mean. I'm not mean. My kids love me, man.
Right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I could call any of them right now. They're not going to say I was a mean person to them, but they knew
Right.
that I was going to tell them the truth and keep them from, going off the deep end and not allowing them to fail or quit. That was the one thing I didn't allow my kids to do was quit.
Right.
Because once you set them on the path of you can quit, what do they do for the rest of their life when things get hard?
Right. They quit.
Quit.
Yeah.
No,
And-
we can't do that. I just say no. That's not an option. Especially if I'm paying my money, you're going to finish.
Yeah. All of this goes back to the order in which God set.
Yes.
The man sets down the rules in the family according to what God said.
Right.
And it's up to that woman, especially when he's not around, to uphold that daughter with the children.
Right.
I mean, uphold that order with the children.
Order with the children. I would say even with the daughter, you were right. Because it even
Yeah.
talks about let the older women teach the younger women how
Right.
to love their husbands.
Right.
That ain't happening. You know what we do? The older women are doing? Competing. They're not teaching, they're competing. You 65, 70 years old and you thinking God got a man for you.
Right.
Baby, your childbearing years is over.
That's true. That's true. This one of the reasons why a lot of older men go after younger women.
Because they can still father children. I know a man. He had his
Right.
last child at 70 years old.
Right.
He's in his 90s now, but he was 70. No woman can have no child at no 70 unless God ordained it. We call that immaculate conception.
Right. Yeah. And they're not Abraham and Sarah. That is.
Amen. I was just going to say that they're not Abraham and Sarah. They're not the promised kids. So So for you to think that at 60, 70, 80 years old, you're going to get married, why don't you pass on some wisdom and knowledge to the younger generation to prevent them from ending up like you?
Right.
That's smart. I taught my kids
Yeah.
to learn from my mistake. I made a mistake here, son. This is what I did wrong. You can fall in that hole or you can learn from me. The choice is yours.
That's
you can
right.
do what I did was dumb, or you can learn from me. The choice is yours. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? I'm not going to expect my kids to beat me or think I'm going to compete with my children.
That's right. I mean, I don't have any children, but I know, I did raise, I told you my story, but I raised someone.
You do have
But
a child.
I
That
was,
is your daughter.
well, I mean, you know what I meant,
Yeah,
though.
I know what you mean, but yeah, you don't biology, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But, man, I just, all of these things, man, and one of the things that I have learned, and this applies to a lot of men too, man, is the lack, and you talk about this all the time, man, the lack of accountability.
Yes.
And like a lot of times when you get in these type of conversations with women, they don't want to hear responsibility and accountability.
That's kryptonite.
They want to tell you that they don't need you.
That's kryptonite to a woman.
Yeah.
Responsibility, accountability.
Right.
And here's another one that's kryptonite to them too. That you can't control it. You have no control.
Well, that's because that's true. And that's in my mind. That's because they don't understand the power of submission.
Amen.
Because they've been tricked into thinking that submission is some kind of slavery.
Right. But we all have to learn submission. Submission is a part of obedience.
True. That's right.
That's a part of it. We all have a role to play, a position to play. Sometimes, Michael, like what's his name, Chris Rock say, sometimes you just got to learn to play the tambourine.
That's right.
You can't sing lead all the time.
You're right about that, man.
He said, if you playing tambourine, just be the best tambourine player you can.
That's right.
But everybody want to sing lead. No, it's not your song. That's not in your key.
Man, it's like the whole society, man, has been going to sleep on good fathers, man.
Yes. And you know why? You know why? Overall, if you look at it, it's economics. Who spend the most money? Who has the most debt? Who will put the family in debt?
The mother.
You see? The mother, you talk about billions of dollars flow through women's hands every year.
Yeah.
My last marriage was making $4,000 a month. Fast forward 5 years, nothing to show for it.
Yep. Man,
Didn't even save. Let's say if she saved $1 out of every paycheck, didn't even save that.
Man, my ex-wife was the same way. She had like 10 or 11 credit cards, all of them maxed out. I told her, I said, look, yo, I'm paying all of the bills. I said, just take your check for the next 6, 7, 8 months and just pay off your credit cards, and then take that money and let's put some of that aside, maybe invest that money. I said, because I'm already holding down the bills. Right. And all she had to say to me, man, was, I don't need you to tell me what to do with my money.
It wasn't her money. That's a mistake, right?
Right. And then she was like, I said, yeah. And I said, you say that to me. I said, but you don't have a problem with me paying all of the bills. Well, you're a man. That's what you're supposed to do. That was her response.
So I would say, so what is a wife? What are you supposed to do?
Right. When I asked her that, she had nothing to say.
Nothing. Nothing to say.
I'm
not surprised. You didn't tell me that, but I already knew that. Nothing to say.
Yeah.
They can tell you what your responsibility is, but don't know what their responsibility is, And here's the challenge, too. When you show them in the Word, if you bring them the Bible and show them, I've been told this before, I don't care what the Bible says.
Right.
I don't care. I'm going to do it.
That is true.
Oh, wow. You can just stand before God and say that. You don't care what the Bible says. I don't care what your words say. It's my
Yeah,
money.
and if, yeah, and they'll say, well, you know that was back then, and today I'm gonna live my best life, and I'm thinking, okay,
Absolutely,
go-
absolutely.
I'm
Um,
living my best life.
my my
Okay,
ex, my ex, when I was doing mortgages, just back before the market crash in '08, making
right,
decent money. I got her credit score up to above 750, and she got a Sears department store card on her own. We don't need a
right.
Sears card. $1,000 limit, Michael.
Hmm.
Maxed out. Within a month, it was maxed out. I said, give me the card. I will pay it off because we don't use department store cards. We just use this MasterCard. Just have this one card.
Right.
The next month, they had increased her limit to $2,000, Michael. It was maxed out again. I said,
That's
I
right.
said, give me the card. I will pay it off. We don't need this type of credit. It's not good for you to have the department store cards. We use MasterCards or Visas. The next time I looked at it, Michael, it was at $4,000 maxed out.
Wow.
And
Wow.
she tried to give me the card then.
Oh, okay. She wanted to give it to you then.
She
Okay.
wanted to give it to me then. Because I'm the man.
Right.
And you the husband. I was a husband when it was at $1,000. I was at the
Right.
husband when you filled out that application that you didn't
Right.
ask me about or talk to me about before you did it. And you didn't have a problem with me paying off your bills and getting your credit straight. But because I said we don't use department store cards, they're not good. The interest rates are too high. Now you stuck at
Right.
$4,000. Good luck.
Well,
Life
you know,
lessons repeat. Now some people say, "Oh, you were being mean." How am I
right.
being mean? She made a conscious choice to be disobedient, to be hard-headed, to be stubborn. And now I'm
Right.
supposed to let it go to $5,000 or $10,000 and then just say, "Oh, baby, I'll pay it off." No.
Yeah, man. You know, I had a similar situation with my ex, man. I heard her, you know, I one time I used to work the night shift and I was laying in the bed and I heard her talking to one of her girlfriends in the living room because this was when we were getting ready to separate. And she told her girlfriend that I was leaving her in all of this debt. And, you know,
What?
so, you know, I got up, man, and put my robe on and I walked up to the living room. I said, Lisa, do you and I have any loans together? She said, no. I said, who pay all of the bills around here? She said, you pay all of the bills. I said, do we have any credit cards that we share? She said, no. I said, well, how is it that I'm leaving you in debt? I said, oh, I'll tell your girlfriend while I'm leaving, how you going to be in debt. I said, I'm leaving you in the debt that you were in before we even got together. I said, because I tried throughout all of this marriage to help you straighten out your credit, all those credit cards that you have and your bills. But you didn't. You told me that you didn't need to do it the way I want to do it, and I don't tell you what to do with your money. And her girlfriend looked at her and said, Lisa, is that true? And she finally bowed her head and said, yeah. And then her friend said, well, shoot, if you don't want them, I'll take them.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I
I'm
just
not
thought that was
surprised.
funny, you know.
That was, it's just like, she probably noticed it years later that she probably made a mistake.
Oh, she
It's
did.
unfortunate that it takes you going through hell, going through situations like that, and becoming a slave to your money. You
Yeah.
become a slave to debt.
Right.
That to me, that's the worst kind of slavery. When you are a slave to debt and you can only make minimum payments.
Oh, yeah.
See, they don't tell you this. If you make a
Right.
minimum payment on a credit card, Michael, it'll take you 30 years to pay it off.
You're right about that.
If that's all you can afford to make, and they love you for that. Think about Capital One, who has a credit card, everybody who got credit cards with them, and you can only make, let's say you got 100,000 people that can only make the minimum payment.
Right.
That
Oh,
couple's
they're
gonna
making
be
a killing.
rich. They are making a killing. And then don't be late.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be one day late. Don't be a late. Don't have a late fee. Don't skip a month. They're making
Right.
more money off of you. And people don't want to listen. You know, I've worked with people, Michael. I've lived with people, had people, family members and girlfriends who I don't even talk to, didn't even try to talk to them about finance and money. I said, you need to go talk to so-and-so because I know you ain't going to listen to me.
Right.
And they didn't even want to go talk to the other person. But I said, you probably need some help because you're not going to listen to me. And I was okay with them not listening to me. You know why? Michael, I always said, thank you for showing me who you are. I really appreciate it. I wasn't delusional
Right.
to think, oh, this person had my back. This person has got me at 100. You know, we full flat tires. No. I said, thank you for showing me who you are. I appreciate that. That made my life easier. When people show you who they are, believe them. I did not make that up, but I think that's one of the best statements I learned for years, you know. And even, you know, going back to our original talking point was about fathers making a difference.
Right.
I mean, and we said a good father. We're not talking about a male who has
Right.
34 children by 27 different men. Or
That's right.
6 kids by 6 different women.
Right.
I met a man, he had 10 kids by 10 women.
Dang.
Okay, I
Yeah,
don't mean
man.
no harm, but woman 2 through 10 were fools.
That's right.
I'm going to call
That's
it what
right.
it is. 2 through 10 were fools. If you know he got one by one, leave him alone. Run.
That's right.
Especially if he got one by one and he's not taking care of it. What do you think he's
Right.
going to do with you? What is the indicator that he's going to be there for you and take care of you?
Nah, I mean, but they'll lay up with him anyway, and so again, and then complain. But when you check them on their accountability,
Right.
they don't want to hear it.
And here's another one that you know, we talk about fatherhood. A stepfather is never appreciated.
That is true.
I saw this video, Michael, this guy. He was in this girl for 17 years. She was about to turn 18. She was 1 year old when he met her and married her mother. 1 year old. Everything for her. Music lessons, dance lessons, took her to games, did everything with her. Come graduation, from high school graduation,
Right.
they wanted the stepfather to give his ticket to her father because she wants her father in her life, and he's come back. So they
Right.
wanted the stepfather to give up his ticket and to give up that whole day was supposed to let her spend time with her daddy.
Right.
I would have divorced her right then.
I would have done the same thing. I ain't lying to you. I've done the same
I would
thing.
have divorced her right on the spot, and their daughter would never see me again. And do you know what's so crazy? That actually happened to my cousin.
Right.
He took care of this girl. He met her. She lived in New Jersey. Even when the mother and him broke up, he bought computers. He paid for college. She needed gas money. He sent her money. He would go up and visit with the girl and everything. Graduation came around, Michael. Do you know they didn't invite him to the graduation? Her father and or mother's new man went to the graduation, but not him.
Yeah, that's crazy right there.
That's insane. I would have been pissed. I'm just glad that he didn't live close by because you know what? That's crazy. This man invested in you and you just shit on him. Did I just say that word out loud? I usually say sugar, honey, iced tea, but yeah.
But it's true though.
Yeah. He got sugar, honey, iced tea. I cleaned it up that time, but yeah, that's crazy. That is pure crazy, man. So stepfathers really don't get any respect at all. I mean, it's good when a father can get respect, but it's hard.
But see, the thing is, I've been in a stepfather situation too, man.
Wow. Okay.
Because happened. See, my ex-wife, man, see, she had a son when I met her.
Okay.
So I was cool as long as I was taking him to his doctor's appointments and feeding him and putting clothes on his back
Yeah.
and playing with him. But the minute he did something, went to correct him, oh, now all of a sudden it's her son.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I saw another video. Now this is to me stepfather, father, good role. The stepfather was checking the son because he had did something wrong at school. He checked him. She said, "Don't talk to my son like that." The next episode scene was he was checking the son again because he had stole a car or did something, stole his mother's car and went to the store, did something. He was checking him again, and she got on the stepfather again.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next scene showed up where the stepfather had packed his bags and was leaving. She said, "Where you going?" He said, "I can't do this anymore. It's over." He said, "Oh, and by the way, your son's in jail. Go get him." And he walked out the door.
Right. Right.
Every time he tried to check the son to teach him, she cut him off. So now you deal with it.
Right.
You go bail him out. You spend your money and time with it. It's too late now. He in jail.
Yep. That's right.
And who knows what he's in jail for? He could have been in jail for murder. Could be in jail for, doing something that he ain't gonna never get out of. But you did not allow the man to teach your son how to be a man.
That's right.
That's crazy to me, man.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Something's got to give somewhere down the line, man. Something's got to give.
You would think. I got a comment. I just read this comment. It says, "If a woman submits to God, she won't have an issue submitting to a godly man." What are your thoughts on that? If a woman submits to God, she won't have any trouble submitting to a godly man. Or
I agree with that.
She should not have any trouble submitting to a godly man.
No, I agree with that one.
I agree too, but here's me flipping a little bit. Should a woman submit to a man who does not submit to God? Should a woman submit to a man who has not submitted to God?
Well, I think that, I don't know, man. That's a hard question because I think that depends on the relationship itself.
The relationship.
I don't feel like a woman
relationship with
should.
God.
I don't know that a woman should submit to a man who she's not married to, and she's not living with. If you know what I'm saying, I don't know. That's a tough question, man. To me, that's a tough question. I think that if a man who's not, let's say you have a man who doesn't, let's say she married a man and but he's not, into, worshiping the Creator but let's say he's a decent man though.
Right.
And let's say let's say that's his flaw. He's a decent man, but he just like don't go to church, don't read the Bible, don't necessarily want to. Yeah, he says he's spiritual, but let's say he's a decent man. I think still it's her responsibility of some sort, as long as she's not doing anything as long as she's not allowing him to do anything to lead her into being disobedient to God. Right. If the marriage is there, I should be obedient to him. If he's if still a good man.
Right.
I don't know how you.
Yeah, I agree with you in that regard because we don't know if her, let's say, holiness or her submission to God may win him over one day. Maybe he might realize that, hey, my wife is doing things and she's being blessed because of it, or I'm being blessed because of my wife. I need to get to know for myself,
Right.
So it's possible that in that regard, if the marriage started off in sin and then they, one of them comes to Christ or one of them gets spiritually, understanding before the other, that's possible. But and here's the thing that we both we're overlooking because We're talking about a husband and a wife. You know,
Right.
this question deals mainly with a man and a woman. They're not married. So if a
Well,
woman is
if
not married to that man, she shouldn't submit to him anyway, unless he what?
no,
Unless marriage
unless
was
he marries her.
But
Unless he marries her. Now,
he's not gonna. He should not even offer marriage if he knows that she's not submitted to God.
right. I agree with that.
You see
Now,
what I'm
I
saying?
do agree with that. Yeah, I agree
So,
with that.
so in your scenario, you're talking about a husband and a wife. In his scenario, he's talking about a man and a woman. So if I know
Yeah.
that she's that, because even the Bible says, "How can two walk together unless they agree?"
They agree. Right.
You know.
So I agree with you. If he's not offering to marry her, she has no reason to submit to him at all. Really.
Not at all. Not at all.
Now, not even so much that even if they have a child together, I'm like, man, if he really wants his family right, then he would offer to marry her.
Right. That's out of order.
Right.
That's the out of order part that we have, and that's very common today. I mean, I can say I'm guilty. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I think most of us are guilty of that. You know.
Yeah. But that's societal, and that's the way we were taught. That's the way we were raised. That's the way we saw things, and we lived to our level of understanding at that time. But when you know better, you
Right.
do better. You know, I'm not
right.
condemned because I did it wrong, but I still had to pay the price. I still had to raise the baby.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
Still got to raise the child, regardless of how that child came. Still got to be a parent. You know, you pray.
That's
you
right.
pray that the child is healthy and don't require any medical or issues or anything like that. That's the main thing. You know, looking at it
Right.
from that perspective. But so going back to our original, the father is. I think that a father who submitted to God, let me put it that way, we're going to add that caveat since he added that piece to it, should be submitted. And if he submitted, then I think he will have the same outcomes as a husband and a wife who were submitted as well. You know, I'm going to add that to the equation because you like you said,
Right.
and we got to put qualifiers on it because just because you are a male, it don't make you a man. And even if you are a man, don't qualify you to be a husband or a father. You know, those are different skill sets that we need to learn. And part of that is learning to watch this word. Women don't like this word, be submitted.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To God
And-
first and then to each other.
That's right. And then again, like I said earlier, see, women are not taught by the older women the power of submission.
Not at all.
Because, like I said, they've been taught by, mainly by the feminist movement, which is all this, most of this crap comes from, is that, that submission is slavery. But just like you said.
Hello? You must be in a bad spot again. You dropped off.
Yeah.
Michael, you dropped off.
Yeah.
About 5 seconds.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm trying to move over. Yeah, I was just saying, again, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine now, huh?
Yeah. Again, it goes all the way back to women not being taught by the elder women the power of submission.
Amen. Amen.
And like I say, even in the New Testament, they read it tells them to be submissive towards one another.
Amen. Even tells the
So-
husband to love your wife like you love yourself.
Right.
You know.
And if that man is doing that, I mean, she really should not have a problem. This whole feminist thing, man, has destroyed
It's
us some
the
kind of
family.
terrible.
It destroyed the family.
Yeah.
And the crazy part about it is feminism was started by white women.
Oh yeah. That wasn't even, we didn't even have an issue with that,
We didn't have
but
an
they
issue
brought us
with it.
into it.
Yep. At the time
You know.
when feminism started, we were the most married race. As far as marriage and it lasting and staying together for years.
Yeah.
Now it's like in the black community, they're talking about 1 out of 4 were married in their lifetime.
Right. and today, I would, a lot when I talk to women, a lot of them just think I'm just bull jiving with them. But I tell them all the time, and it's accurate information. All they got to do is check it out. Is that most divorces are initiated by women.
Absolutely.
85%. We almost at an 85% divorce rate now. And I mean, man, and we're all screwed up because of this situation.
We're not fighting for relationship and unity anymore. We're fighting each
Right.
other.
That's right.
Michael, I learned when I was reading the Bible and talking to people and even women about submission and how they felt about the submission. I'm praying to the Lord, well, Lord, why do people have such a problem with submission? What's wrong with it? I mean, I didn't get it. So I was working at the TV station. Prior to me coming there, I had my own video production company. So I knew my way around cameras. I knew about lighting. I knew about staging and everything. And I had this guy there. His name was Gene Edney. I was producing his show. He was coming on twice a week.
Right.
This guy didn't know anything, but it was his show.
Right.
Every suggestion I made, his answer was, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. Right? So now I got the word that here's your opportunity to submit. I submitted to him. I stopped arguing with him. I started asking him questions. I said, what do you want me to do? Then I would say, okay,
right.
we can do this or we can do this. How do you want me to handle it? And whatever he said, I did it his way.
Right.
Within 3 months, Michael, it went from me asking him questions to go ask AJ. If anybody came in and said, talk to AJ. Because I was willing to submit to him, he entrusted me with running and producing the show. No decision was made without running it through me.
Right.
I learned submission, and I was okay with it. If he had came to me and said, well, AJ, I don't want to do that, I said, okay, this is your show.
Well, see, again, you just gave a perfect example. Even from a masculine side, you gave the perfect example of the power of submission.
Exactly. That's where I learned it at. And I said, you know what, this submission thing is not hard. I get more done by saying, how do you want to do this? What do you want to do? I remember working at Universal Leaf, right, years ago, and my boss said, what is your job here? And I told him, my job is to make you look good. Whatever you need me to do, I'm willing to do. Whatever you need something, I'm supposed to keep you informed of what's going on. And I'm telling him all this stuff. He just looked at me and walked away. I let him know, I'm submitted. Whatever you need.
Right.
When I do my job right, it makes you look good. That's what I'm supposed to do.
That's right.
Submission. I'm not going to argue with my boss about nothing.
Right.
What do you need? How do you want me to do it? If you give me the authority to do it my way, then I'll do it my way. Other than that, I'm going to say, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do first?
But see, your average Joe person who doesn't understand that, they say you kissing the man's behind.
Hey, look, the dude was a good dude, and when people know that you are submitted, they do this, Michael. They take their hands off of it.
Right.
And submission means I need to know that I can trust you.
That's what submission really is.
Can I trust you? You have to. I have to be able to trust you in this situation. And once they knew that they could trust me, my life got easier.
Yep.
But a lot of people, I could say just women, a lot of people don't want to build that. That's something you have to build. You have to. You don't just get that instantly because you walk in the door.
That's right.
That's something that you have to build. You have to show I'm trustworthy. I have integrity.
That's right.
But a lot of people, it's like kryptonite. What's his name? Kevin Samuels. He said he used the sign. Most women use sign language.
Right.
Shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right.
Yep. That is true. That's true. And of course, you tell your average woman that she has a hard time with it, but I'm like, why you all have a hard time with something that's true? Oh, you don't want to be accountable.
No accountability at all. That's unfortunate because I look at it. What does it do to the family unit? What does it do to
Right.
help the children to see submission, love in action, accountability, commitment, honor between their parents? What does it do to the children to see those things versus not seeing those things?
Right.
It's
That's right.
you're still teaching consciously or
Ri-
unconsciously. You're teaching.
Right.
And when a woman says my money, that's a marriage that's in trouble.
Yep.
Your money is my money and my money is my money. What you supposed to do, I'm not supposed to do anything but stay black and die.
Right.
If I'm paying all the bills, I'm doing it because I see it as the beneficiary to the family and how it
Right.
can help us down the road. I was talking to a woman the other day. I said, okay, if your husband is paying all the bills, you need to learn how to invest
Right.
so that you can invest your money and show him what you can do so he can trust you with the rest of the money. Maybe your goal could be to raise $10,000 so that you can invest so that y'all can start and maybe investing together. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of things that women can do. I mean, if you look at the Proverbs 31 woman, she didn't say wife, but woman. She was a wife, but woman. She was a business owner. She did a lot of things that made money. She did
That's
things
right.
to make her husband look good in front of other people.
Right. And that's
A lot of
exactly
women would see that as wrong. She was a slave. She was being used.
right. That's the point that you made, man, was the exact thing I was trying to do with my ex-wife. I was, like I said, I was paying all the bills. I was trying to set her up to get herself straight. Look, take your money, pay off your bills.
Right.
All right. Then after that, let's use your money to put some aside, and like I told her, same thing you did, and invest some money and try to make life better for the whole family. And like I said, the only thing she had to say to me is that I don't need you to tell me what to do with my money.
Yeah. See that she didn't realize that wasn't her money.
Right.
It wasn't her money.
And then, like I said, when I said to her, hey, but you don't have a problem with me paying the bill. Well, you're a man. That's what you're supposed to do.
See, where did they get that from? Where did they get that
Crazy.
from?
Yeah, man,
I
that's
had
crazy.
an opportunity to share this with young lady that if you had just listened to me and trusted me when we were together, you wouldn't even have to be working now.
Right.
She don't even have no money saved up for retirement, Mike. Still living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
Trying to get a loan. Credit score low. I mean, come on. If you just trusted, I would say, take it as far as you just trusted the God in me. If you saw me as a godly man, just trusted the God in me, you wouldn't even have to
Right.
work now.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was
I
working towards. Her being
Right.
able to come back home so that we can do some things together to create more
Right.
income for the family. So maybe I could come home.
Right.
But I'm at the point now, Mike, I've realized I have to do it for myself by myself. I can't rely on a wife to do that for me.
Well, we've been forced into, as men, we've been forced into this.
Yeah, I don't have
You
a
know,
help meet.
Right.
They don't know what the word
And
help meet means.
they don't know what the word help meet means. Because to understand the word help meet would be able to understand two things: what a wife really is supposed to be, and what submission really means.
Absolutely. And see, when you don't know that and understand that, then it hurts the children more than anything. The
Yep.
children are the innocent victims of that when
Yep.
it's not done correctly. When either
That's
parent
true.
is out of order, But my biggest issue is how we have these programs, and people want to set up more programs for women. They're not setting up programs for family,
Right.
whereas the father can learn his role and position and play his role, and the wife can play her role. You don't have to like it. Do you think I like everything I do, Michael? I do it because I need to do it. When I was raising kids, man, I had 5 jobs sometimes.
Right.
Video,
Yeah, me too.
photography, taking pictures, taking videos, working at the station, doing commercials. I was doing whatever I needed to do to make money.
That's right.
And guess what? The crazy part about it is most people wouldn't realize this about me, but I'm an introvert by nature. I
Right.
draw more strength and energy from being by myself than being around people talking.
I do too, man. I'm just like that.
I took a test. It told me that, hey, you're an introvert. Me being by myself, I'm in heaven, man.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I have people say to me, Mike, every time I see you by yourself, I say, I have a handful of friends that I know are true solid friends, but most of the time they know me too. I
Absolutely.
spend most of my time by myself because I'm always trying to think of ways of
The next move.
bettering my life and
Absolutely.
bettering my financial situation, all of these things,
Absolutely. And if a woman is not on that level, then they can do nothing but drain you.
Yeah,
Not just your
Yeah.
finances, but your energy.
yeah,
Because you have to listen to craziness, and then you have to try to teach them or talk to them, and then they throw it back in your face because they don't want to listen, they don't want to do it. Or
yeah,
or
man.
you hear the fear come out of them.
Yeah, and they want to, people. This is people in general, even family members, man. Sometimes when you know as well as I do, and better than I do in a whole lot of ways, that you're trying to do something for yourself, and then when you finally start to achieving that, even family now they want to be around you because they want to try to take advantage of what
Absolutely.
you've
What
accomplished.
you've accomplished, what you have created. Yeah, they don't want to do the work. They don't want to work with you. But once you get there, then they think, hey, Michael, you should help me with this. Michael. And some of them get offended if you tell them no.
Right.
They think you're
Right.
supposed to. I remember one time I had my brother, my sister, my mother living in my house, and they got offended because they had to pay rent.
That's crazy, man.
This
crazy.
is what they told me. We paying your mortgage. I said, no, you're paying your rent.
That's right.
Don't get it twisted. You're paying your rent. I said, because I can rent this out to someone else.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? They was offended, like, we don't want to pay your mortgage. Okay, you don't have to pay my mortgage. I pay my mortgage. You pay your rent.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
know if
And
I
I
was,
just,
they don't know if I was ahead or behind in paying my bills. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And most months I was ahead. So what they were giving me, if they said we're not gonna pay you, okay, I'll file eviction notices and you be out. But my house is
Right.
not going to go into foreclosure because I pay my mortgage.
That's right.
But they were really offended by that, man. To me, that was
Yeah.
it was comical to me when I heard that.
Right.
That's like okay. But here's the thing,
Yeah.
Michael.
Uh-huh.
They moved out of my house and moved into another apartment that was more rent than what I was charging them, and they paid that without a problem.
Right. Right.
Didn't call him complaining about the rent being too high or nothing. Got another place and it was okay. But because it was my house, they didn't want to pay my mortgage.
Right.
I said,
Man.
make that make sense.
That right there is, I hate to say this, but that's right there is typical, man, of a lot of women. And I know who's ever listening, we're not saying this stuff out of hatred for our women. We love our women. We just want them to be accountable like they expect us to be accountable.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, Michael, because in talking to friends who've watched the show and talked to me, they really think that and heard you and I talking, they think that we don't like women.
No, we love our women.
They think we have the problem.
No. I'm gonna tell you, I ain't never really had outside of a couple of situations. I never had any major problems like that, and I don't have a problem, finding a woman. I've never had a problem finding that, and they know exactly how I think.
Right.
But whoever is listening, this is not this stuff we're speaking, and not we're not speaking out of hatred towards our women. We love our women. We just want our women to have the same accountability that they expect us to have.
That's the point. And the same accountability to me is don't just create programs for women or women and children. Why not create
Right.
programs that build the family, focus on the family? There used to be a show that come on called Focus on the Family. Why not make that the goal and teach the husband to be a husband, teach the wife to be a wife, and be a resource to the community of what a family is supposed to look like? That to me would be better
Right.
use of a woman's time versus creating a woman's program.
Right.
I went to a domestic violence. I had my own company, and we did we went to a domestic violence for training.
Right.
It was a domestic violence program. I was actually supporting the program, and they talked about the 8 principles or 8 ways to determine if you are being, if you live in a domestic violence situation. 8 things.
Right.
Do you know I raised my hand for all 8 of them, of experiencing those things myself?
Right.
But as a man, I was told to suck it up.
Right.
Right? I told the
Right.
lady, I said, as I raised my hand every time she brought up a point, I said, I've experienced that myself. And I could tell you a story if you want me to, right? I said, y'all might need to change your program to just not just focus on women of domestic violence, but let's do families or men, because men experience
Right.
these things, but I'm not calling the police.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And the only
Right.
way I got my wife at the time to stop what she was doing, some of the things, she didn't stop everything, but from hitting me, was I said, if you hit me again, I'm calling the police. That's the only
Right.
way I got her to stop, was to threaten to call the police. And then the name calling started. She wouldn't say
Yep.
she wouldn't say the B word. She would say, you are biatch.
Yeah.
Oh, you weak. And I'm like, because I don't want you to hit me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man.
all 8 of the principles, Michael, I've experienced, and I didn't even realize that those were the principles of domestic violence.
Yeah, man. And see, women feel comfortable doing that because they know 9 times out of 10 if the police comes, they're coming to arrest us.
The man's going to jail. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the woman could be dead wrong.
Absolutely. Even if I've seen this happen, Michael, even if it was mutual combat.
Right.
Even if both of them were fighting, if she hit him first and he hit her first, or whatever, if they were fighting each other, he going to jail.
Yeah. Man, I had a situation like that with my ex-wife, man. She called the police, told the police I was trying to kill her. She had him on the phone. She was banging on the wall, trying to make it look like I was slamming her against the wall and all of that. And the police came over. Of course, they came over to arrest me.
Yeah, well,
She
they
told the
came over
police.
hot. They came over on 10, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, man. They
Yeah.
came over with their hands on their guns and everything. She told the police, this is the only thing that saved me. She told the police that I had punched her in her chest and she had bruises all over her chest and her back. So when the police came in, I said to them, look, they said, man, we're gonna have to lock you up. I said, look, did this lady not tell you that she had bruises on her chest and across her back? And he said, yeah. I said, get a female police car, a female officer, take her in the back and make her undress. And when the female police came in, said, ma'am, let's go to the back and show me the. She was like, I don't know why we don't have to do that. I said, you see what I'm talking about? I said, if she had some bruises and scars like that, she would be more than willing to show you so that y'all can lock me up. That's the only thing that saves me, man.
Absolutely. But yeah, I believe it. And sometimes the absence of evidence, they don't care. Even if they,
Right.
just because they made the accusation. This one guy, I was working with, he said that his wife called the police on him. They were in an argument over the phone. He's at work. He hung up on her. And the next thing you know, by the time he got home, he got off work around 5. His neighbor said, hey, the police came around 2 o'clock. They looking for you. He called the police and found out that she said that he had beat her. And he was at work. He said, here's my supervisor's name and number. Call my supervisor. She'll tell you, verify you where I was at. Did you see any marks on her? Was there any bruises on her?
Right.
At all. Nothing. That's the only thing that saved him was the fact that he was at work and that he gave them his supervisor's name and number to call.
It's crazy,
And
man.
you,
That's all.
you ask her, why did you do that? You know what she said? Because I was mad. Because I was mad. And it ended up, she ended up calling the police on him 22 times.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Every time she got mad, she used the police as her deterrent to get him. I'm going to get you.
Right.
Now, the sad part about it now, Michael, is the fact that she called 22 times. They're in court. They're using that against him, that she called the police 22 times.
Wow.
No arrest, no conviction. But the fact that she called 22 times, they're trying to use that against him.
Yeah.
And say he's a violent person.
Yeah. Well, you know how the system is, man. You can
guess what gender the lawyer is, the judge is,
right,
the prosecutor
right.
is. You know, you can guess what gender all those people are. The guardian ad litem, all female, everybody. He understand the change.
And see, again, here, this goes back to the justice system and why they're so biased. But see, this is the thing. I take this right back to the Bible. The Bible says, he who answers a matter before it is heard is a fool.
Absolutely.
And that simply means for the judge, you can't properly judge a situation until you properly listen to both sides.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Man, I was in court one time, and when the woman was speaking, the judge was like this, leaning forward, listening. When the man started speaking and his witnesses came forward, she started doodling on her desk. She started looking around and everything,
right.
Michael. The whole time he's presenting evidence. And you know what she said at the end? She said, because I used to be a federal prosecutor for domestic violence, the children will stay where they are. That was her final ruling. The father's lawyer had caught her in lie after lie after lie, right on the stand, quarter. But the whole time he was questioning her, the judge won't even paying attention.
Yeah.
And she said, because I used to be a federal prosecutor. What does that have to do with you hearing this case right now? And this woman is lying, just to keep the kids, keep the money, and we know that his documentation for that, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a fool. That's a fool that doesn't even need to be sitting on the bench.
Absolutely. But you know what, man? I believe this wholeheartedly. People who do stuff like that, they will have their day.
Yeah, they will.
You reap what you sow.
I agree.
And when it comes back on you, the good thing about it is when it comes back on you, every time you've done something wrong, it just shows in your mind. Remember when you did this?
That's right.
Remember what you did in this situation? They're going to get it all back.
That's right.
You know, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
When I used to do a whole lot of wrong stuff, it used to come back and bite me in the butt every time.
That's right.
You know, so what is the saying?
Yeah.
You reap what you sow.
Yeah. And the thing is, people don't realize. We say those statements, reaping what you sow, but when it comes around to you, man, most of the time it comes around a whole lot harder.
Yeah, because we don't expect it all the time, and it hurt our feelings
right.
when it comes back. You know, when you get reminded that you treated somebody wrong or you did something that you should not have done. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. You know, so are you home yet? You made it back to Richmond?
No, I actually took a wrong turn.
Uh oh.
I was looking for something. I took a wrong turn, so I still got a good little ways to go. But I'm good though. I'm not sleeping. I think I'm gonna stop in a little bit and get me a sandwich or something because I haven't really eaten anything today.
Okay, okay. Well, it is 10:45.
Okay.
We usually stay on until 11, but I got a little. I try to do at least an hour. I have it booked for 2 hours, and I know
Yeah.
you and I could keep going, but I want to be
Oh yeah.
respectful of your time, and I would like to ask you to would you consider being my co-host and helping me produce this show and talk about this. I will call you. You don't have to come in, or if you're at home.
Oh yeah.
Are you home? Are you out every Wednesday? I mean Monday. Do you have rehearsal
Oh
every
no,
Monday?
I play for a group up in the and direct a group up in the Alexandria area, but I only rehearse um I only rehearse with them once a month.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and this just happened to be, one of the nights that I
Yeah.
had to drive up to Alexandria.
Well, maybe
And
well next Monday I'm gonna take a break because it's Memorial Day
yeah.
weekend. But maybe the weekend after we could maybe catch you on Zoom and we can continue this conversation and talk.
Oh yeah.
If you would definitely consider being my co-host, because I like working with you. I like talk. You know me and you, man. We talk. We can talk.
Oh yeah. We've been there a long time,
Yeah,
man,
we've been doing this for a while, and I'm gonna say this, man. What I love about you is the fact that we could go for 6 months or a year without seeing each other, but as soon as we get on the
Yeah.
phone, it's like we just talked yesterday.
Oh yeah, man.
That's what I love about it, man. It's awesome. So I appreciate you.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, before you go, man, it's something I want to I started a business, and it's actually doing pretty well, man. And I wanted to talk to you, man, about properly setting up the LLC and
Yeah. Yeah.
tying all that stuff together, man.
You
Maybe
have
that's
any
a
time
subject we could
tomorrow?
talk about sometime. I do.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
let's talk tomorrow. I want to say after 6.
Okay. Yeah, I can give you a call.
Give me a call and we can go through. We can maybe jump on Zoom and I can show you what you need to do to
Okay.
get it
Yeah.
all set up. Okay.
Ultimately, I want to learn this thing about, man, setting up things properly in a trust, but I
Right.
had to start with the LLC for this business,
Well, yeah. Well, you have to set that up. You have to set it up with that in mind too. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna
Right,
do a trust,
right,
you got to make sure that everything that's going to flow under that is set up correctly. Because
right,
I'm having to go back and rename. I have to go back and change the name of one of my companies,
right,
just to make sure it's set up right within the structure. So,
right.
yeah, we can talk about it. I can share with you
Oh,
what I'm working on right now.
okay, man.
Okay. God
Yeah, and I'll
bless.
tell you about the business. Okay, same to you, man.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk tomorrow after 6.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye.
All right. That was Brother Michael Theory, and I asked him to be my co-host, so I don't have to worry about what I'm going to talk about. Because sometimes doing this by yourself, I feel as though I've heard that before, I've said that before, but with him is always something new. Even though we rehash some things from time to time, which is okay. If you would like to donate to the channel, go to our website. We're not set up like most of the other podcast programs are yet, but we are going to be working towards that goal. I'm hoping that we can continue to uplift and celebrate fatherhood 365. The next big holiday is Father's Day. Hopefully you will have something, do something special for your dad. Let him know that he's appreciated. Give him his flowers now. If he's been, let's say if he's not a good dad, then pray for him. Pray that God will show him his heart and the things that he's done wrong. Maybe he can give him the opportunity to come back and apologize. Maybe you might need to apologize as well, and work on some things, and have that difficult conversation. My son Andrew, he had that conversation with me when he was 19 years old. He asked some questions, and I was proud of him. I was glad that he did. So, with that being said, I want to say good night, Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you on next Monday. Remember, we don't do Wednesdays anymore. But if talking to Michael, if he wants to do Wednesdays, we can. But other than that, we're going to stick to just Mondays with celebrating fatherhood. You have a blessed evening, and good night.